Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at Sober.Coffee Pod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
Glenn.
Dude,
I know.
what are you pointing to me for? What the hell?
I always start out, and then I thought we'd do a pregnant pause there.
You always make fun of my name somehow, but no, you know what we should do? And
what do
we've
you
said
think?
this before, and we've never done it.
What?
We should always do like a hot mic, like like in the parking lot, because we have some of the most engaging,
I know,
insightful conversations off mic.
Right. And we could even pull some music into it, like this morning. In the parking lot, you put
theme song.
A new theme song, yeah. Hell's Bells.
Hell's Bells from AC/DC. I don't know. You just need, and I love our U2 song. But you need some sort of driving anthem, to get people fired up. Get me fired up.
Are you fired up?
I'm fired up.
What are you drinking over there?
Dude,
you got
what?
a double espresso?
I didn't sleep well last night. We have a special guest today, and
I
just started processing like the path that I've walked with him, and I went to bed at 9, fell asleep by 10, and I was up at 2. Right.
Good morning.
So I wasn't really feeling the best, but man, the coffee is kicking in.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Let me ask you a question. Are you craving the mornings these days?
So absolutely. So that's one of my hashtags. Dr. John, do you even know what a hashtag is?
It's some kind of computer thing, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
I know what hash is.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Stop.
Okay, stop.
So hashtag crave morning, right? So when you take a picture and you post it on social media, you throw a hashtag, and it kind of a way somebody wants to look at crave mornings. They see all the ones that were tagged crave morning. Right. But it's really impactful for me along the way. And again, I've shared I'm on the slow train, right? This is not I did not take a pill and get better like that. I did not get a bolt of lightning from heaven and get better like that. This is a day-to-day slow train for me. Somewhere along the way, I woke up, and I'm an early riser. I'm usually up at 4, and the sun was starting to come up, and I'm out there with my coffee, and I get this feeling inside, and I'm like, it's almost like peace or something was going on. Right. And I started every day looking forward to the next day, because page 86 in the big book is upon awakening. We look at our day ahead. We plan our day. And so I started doing that, and I started to crave the mornings. So now I go on morning walks and I take pictures of the sunrise and I tag them crave morning. But it's really impactful because I used to hashtag curse mornings. It was midnight. Got to take another drink, got to stop the shakes, right? 2 o'clock, got to take more booze, got to stop the shakes. I'm measuring, what am I going to do tomorrow? I got to measure how much. I can't be drunk. I can't do this. Okay, I can be drunk because now I can blow off that meeting, blow off. And the sun would come up, and the pain and the self-hate, and I'm like, another day of this bullshit, alcoholic hell, as I call it. And I used to curse the mornings, because I just couldn't handle it. And what a difference between cursing mornings and craving mornings. So, man, that was a long way to answer your little snippet.
No, that's awesome. And there's still things that probably make you curse during the day. There are still challenges in life. I mean, it's not like
dude, it's stupid stuff. It's like I was printing a legal document yesterday, and my printer ran out of ink.
Yeah, it sure did.
And my printer, it didn't run out of ink. It ran out of paper, right? And, that through my head, I'm like, crap, this bullshit, right?
Yeah, right.
That's the stuff I suffer through today, and that's not really suffering, but we should talk about the word suffering.
No, we're not touching that. We're not poking that bear.
Yeah.
So listen, that was we definitely went way past our time. We got a guest in the coffee shop today. Dr. John is back with us again.
Right.
Welcome,
the Dr. John series.
The Dr. John series, right? Part 1 of 633.
Right.
Welcome,
John.
So go back and listen to the other episodes, or as the ones that come up with Dr. John, and very insightful and means a lot to me. We do joke around a little bit, about hashtags and hash and stuff like that. We take this stuff seriously. For me, it was life and death. You used to curse the mornings. I used to curse my entire existence. It was just, And you go back and listen to my story. I mean, I didn't crash my car into another car. I crashed my life into the wall of despair, and it just shattered all the way around me. Blah blah blah. So I got better, and I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and met people who taught me that life is going to hand you life, and you just need to deal with it one step at a time. Literally, get your left foot in front of your right foot in front of your left foot. And I learned about the difference between, because I had gone for periods of my life where I didn't drink or drug. Just little snippets of time. I'd accumulate a couple of days, but I never knew what living sober was. And so we thought we'd have John back today to talk about what is sober. What's the difference between just not drinking and living a life of sobriety. And so we're so grateful to have you back, John. We really appreciate your stuff.
It's a great topic.
Great to be here.
Yeah.
So what's sober, I think is the question. That's something that I struggled with for many years and still do. I don't have a definition for it. But I had, with everything, I had misconceptions. When I first came in, I thought my disease was alcohol, that I just got to stop drinking. Then I realized that's only the first essential requirement. I also have to clean up my act. I thought if I stop drinking and become a real good boy, I'll be done. And then I realized that my disease is not bad behavior. My disease is alcoholism. We talked about that, this hole in the soul. Now, what's sobriety? For a long time, I thought that sobriety, we all know what dry is, where you're miserable.
Sure.
Restless, irritable, discontent, running scared, obsessive worry, and so on. And for a long time, I thought, well, sober must be the opposite of that. Sober must be happy, happy, joy, joy.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, I judged myself harshly. And even though I know it's unwise to compare yourself to others, we all do it. Even though I know I'm comparing my insides with your outsides, it's understandable that you sit at a meeting, my ism's eating me alive, I'm feeling whatever. And I don't need a reason, by the way. My ism has a life of its own. I'm not talking about situational distress. Obviously, bad things happen, you feel bad. I'm talking about when things are going fine. In my non-alcoholic life would say, happy, happy, joy, joy. I'd say, yeah, but, doom and gloom is on the horizon. That was my insides. So for years, I judged myself harshly, thinking, why is this program not working for me? What am I doing wrong? I felt like an interloper. I'd be at meetings where people would talk about how grateful they were and how full of joy and how they, felt spiritual, et cetera, et cetera.
And you weren't feeling it.
I wasn't feeling it. I thought, well, what am I doing wrong? Now, maybe I'm just rationalizing my perpetual dryness. In fact, like that guy at the meeting last night said, I thought you're a miserable son of a bitch. When is this guy going to get sober? My take on it, and this isn't just my invention. I've had some good sponsoring and teaching along the way. My take on it is that I have alcoholism, not alcoholism, as we discussed previously. And I don't think sober is necessarily feeling good. I don't think it's a feel-good program. I'm not saying it's a feel-bad program. Obviously, if we didn't feel better and things didn't get better, none of us would stick around, But there are days when I feel like crap for no apparent reason. Life is still life. Shit happens, So I've come to the conclusion, to the belief, it's not an intellectual thing. My belief is that sober really is about enduring the ism, suffering better. The program does not fill my void. Little tangent here. We always talk about it's not a religious program, it's a spiritual program. But then I've never heard anybody elaborate. What is the difference? We say cute things like religion's for people who are afraid of hell, spirituality's for people who've been to hell. I get that. Mm-hmm. But I think one difference is that religion fills the void. Spirituality helps me to embrace the void. It helps me to suffer better, to embrace it, to grow from it.
And it's a little healthier than alcohol or drug consumption.
Yeah. So, to me, sobriety is to not be a dick. It's that simple.
Right.
My buddy Eddie down in Florida says, I was pontificating about one of these things, and he says, to me, it's simple. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah, right.
I thought that summarizes it pretty well.
That's right.
Yeah, but I think it's important for me to know, and maybe it'll help somebody else to know, if you're not feeling good, that's okay. If you're not feeling it, I quit AA about once a week in my head.
I love that.
I quit AA about once a week in my head. My enthusiasm waxes and wanes. There's times when I'm on fire, like right now. I just love it. I love this stuff. When I work with a newcomer,
Sure.
I'm just amazed sometimes. It happens so often. Well, you're sitting at a meeting and it's a gratitude meeting, and I want to puke because I'm not feeling grateful, and everybody's spiritual, and I'm still wrestling with this God thing, blah 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 blah. And I see a newcomer, and I'm just attracted to pain, and that's a morbid thing. I can relate to it, I'll talk to the guy, and next thing I know, I'm on fire.
You change.
I'm amazed at how much I believe this stuff. Yeah. 10 minutes ago, I'm sitting there doubting everything, questioning everything, not buying anything. Well,
what's amazing to me is that you do keep coming back and you do keep magnating to the newcomer, the person in pain. And you have a term, I think it's broken people heal broken people. Or
we're broken healers to each other.
We're broken healers to each other.
Reverend Yu Wayne wrote the book, The Broken Healer. Wounded healer. The wounded healer, yeah.
Yeah, and it just, to me, it really shows, because it amazes me, and I'm figuring it out now. It's taken me a while, but why do I keep coming back? I mean, I'm cured, he says sarcastically.
Right.
I've taken my depression pill. I'm no longer depressed. Why do I keep coming back? Because that's my pill that keeps me sober. It's that sobriety that you're talking about. It's being in those meetings, maybe saying, when I go to a meeting for a couple of reasons. Number one, I go back. I take myself back to that point of pain, October 13, 2018. I want to bring myself back there just for a nanosecond. I need to remember that pain because, as you said in previous episode, over time that'll tend to dissipate and dilute. And so I go back just for a moment to that point of pain to remind myself why I came. The rest of the time I'm there for two reasons: to grow and to help somebody else grow.
Right.
And I don't know what I never know what I'm going to say, just like now. I never know what I'm going to say, but I'm hoping that one thing I share means something to somebody and helps keep them sober for one more day.
Right.
So you were talking about being sober, and I always love to focus on tools, and Dr. John, I'm sitting here. I mean, I've known you 10 or 12 years, and we've been in many, many hundreds, maybe 1,000 meetings together over that period of time. And I've got so many Dr. John-isms. So being sober, I always look at, okay, what are some of the keys to being sober? You have expressed one of the keys that I have latched onto, and I do myself. And I also, when I work with some sponsees, it's one of the first things I say is this phrase that I'm going to say, and I just want you to react to it and kind of share what it means to you and what your direction is, etc. And the phrase is, can you all guess?
Go ahead. There's many.
Wax on, wax off. If because for me, the key to sobriety, to changing how I live, this was one of those key phrases.
Well, it's a Karate Kid story, and I couldn't go into it in detail, but I've shared that story many, many times, and to the point where people roll their eyes. Here he goes with the Karate Kid story again.
Repetition's the mother of all knowledge.
But you'd be amazed how often it takes people years to get it.
That's me.
And to me, that's a God story. To me, it's a God story. The kid could not make himself a champion. The old man was just a humble janitor. He was not a karate master. Okay, but if the kid, the sponsee, does his part, which is to be honest, and honest, by the way, means more than just not lying. One of my pet peeves is honest with self. You can only be as honest as you are well. Okay, honest to me means is to share with you what I'm thinking and feeling, even though you may not like it. So the kid did his part. He was honest. He said, I don't want to wax your freaking cars. This is stupid. This is not what I need. You don't understand. And the old man didn't scold him. Secondly, he kept an open mind. He allowed for the possibility that maybe this old fart knows something I don't know. And most importantly, he waxed the cars. Honest, open, willing. They use that in the treatment centers, HOW, honest, open, willing. The old man, the sponsor, his job was to not judge. He didn't scold the kid for feeling the way he felt. He said, I hear you. Yeah, if I was in your shoes, I wouldn't like it either. I know this makes no sense to you.
So wax on.
Keep an open mind, and most importantly, wax on, wax off. And to me, that is the perfect metaphor for the sponsor-sponsee relationship. The kid became a champion for one simple reason. He was willing to do what he was told. Willingness is not a feeling. So many things in AA we talk about a feeling. Spirituality is a feeling. Love is a feeling. Gratitude is a feeling. Father Martin said, never mind about feeling grateful, be grateful, In like manner, with willingness, the kid was willing to do what he was told for one simple reason. The pain of doing it his way had become intolerable.
Yeah, that is such a great point because myself, I don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah.
Period, end. And that's funny because in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about suggestions. And I can tell you that I could probably put less than one handful of fingers where people have said, well, I suggest you do this. It's not even a suggestion. If you just listen to what people are saying, they are suggesting how you should live.
Right.
I'd
be remiss if I didn't pay tribute to a wonderful woman. Her name was Cecilia. She was my mentor for 10 years. In fact, she was my sponsor, but because of the boy-girl thing, I called her my mentor. She's older
there are
than
flags on the field.
She was older than Yoda and wiser than Yoda. And I'm not sure why I brought her up, but she taught me the importance of willingness. I'd say I prayed. If I had a nickel for how many times I would pray about something, I'd pray. And I go to Cecilia, here's what I'm struggling with, and I'm pretty sure God's will is this. No, John, that's your will. I need to bounce it off somebody. She said to me, anytime you think you've got God's will figured out, come and check with me first.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10.
Check with the real God.
9 times out of 10.
We were talking about feelings and what I have experienced, what I've learned through experience day to day in this program is, and I always think of the Facebook post, and we all know, if it's on Facebook, if it's on social media, John,
it's got to be true.
It's true. It's
sure.
fact, right?
Sure.
And this Facebook, it was a meme or whatever it's called, and it was like a stop sign, or it said, your thoughts and feelings are valid. Act on them. Right. I did that for 50 years.
Wrong.
Right?
You're
No,
wrong.
Totally. And what I just wrote down, action eventually leads to feelings. So I do what I do. I do the right thing, whether I feel like it or not.
Yeah.
I just know it's the right thing. And over time, as I reflect back, rarely in the moment, like now I'm walking and I'm getting in shape, I'm losing weight, I'm going to the gym. It's literally the worst 45 minutes of my day. I don't feel good doing it. In fact, if you saw the head shit that was going on, I absolutely hate it. But the other 23 and a half hours a day, I feel better because I did it.
If I do what feels good, it'll eventually feel bad.
Oh, I love that.
If I do what's right, it'll eventually feel good.
Love that.
But to do what's right, I need your input. Because I'm an alcoholic, I'm a person of the emotional extremes. When I get angry, I get very angry. When I'm scared, I'm very scared. When I'm, et cetera, whatever the emotion is. And aroused emotion always affects judgment, And that's why I need you to read my blind spot, read my navel for me. So to act rightly, to do what is right, which will eventually feel good, I need your input.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw John at a Sunday morning breakfast last Sunday, and AA breakfast, and I said to him, John, are you okay? Right? Because you were just a little off. But again, who am I to say that? Right? But it's to your point. I mean, we read each other.
Yeah,
when you're on, you're off.
Right.
And it was just concerning. And you said, no, I'm fine. And I bought it.
I lied. My wisdom was on me.
Totally. Right. But that's what my wife has described me. She goes, Glenn, you're either a 1 or you're a 10.
Right. All or none
She
personalities.
goes, you are not a 5. She goes, I have never seen you a 5.
Yeah.
Who wants to be a 5?
I know, absolutely. I mean,
Can I add one more quick dog story?
Yeah.
I don't know how much time we have left. About working the program. What does it mean to be sober? Well, I think I've expressed I don't think it's about feeling good. And I'm not a masochist. I'm not about feeling bad.
Are you sure?
I'm not a pain freak, but I have the ism. And the program has taught me it's okay to be broken. Okay? Dog story, real quick. The short version, Samantha. The boys and I went and adopted a dog, and this dog and I had almost a mystical bond. I mean, more than any other dog. This dog just bigger than a horse. It was like Marmaduke. And didn't have her long. She got sick and she died. And a few days afterwards, I'm sitting there thinking, why do I miss this dog so much? And I was really sad. And I'm not weird. I don't put the ashes on. I'm thinking, she wasn't a pedigree. She didn't know any tricks. She cost me a ton of money towards the end with veterinary bills. She pooped all over the kitchen floor. Why do I miss her so much? My first thought was, I know why, because she loved me unconditionally. And most people say, well, no, that's not really true. If I didn't feed her and rub her belly her love for me was actually conditional. And then the epiphany. I missed her so because she afforded me an opportunity to love her unconditionally. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, and it gives me goosebumps. And I was about 6, 7 years old. I believe that is the only need we have. I have lots of wants. I want you to love me unconditionally. I want you to applaud me. But I really think the only need we have is to give love unconditionally. My last thought was, if I could love my fellow man that way, that would be heaven on earth.
Well, that's the 12-step serving.
That's right. That's right.
That's the superpower. The 12-step in serving is a superpower. First thing I do is get up in the morning is I make my wife coffee. I make their lunches, and I make gourmet lunches. And that's my way of loving that dog unconditionally.
Right.
And you know what? I used to count the thank yous. I used to count the accolades. And now I can actually change a trash bag without getting a pat on the back, because, again, over time. The one thing I want to point out when you talk about comparison, right? Because we go into rooms and we compare. We compare ourselves out and we compare ourselves in. We're like, oh, I wasn't that bad.
Right.
Or I didn't do that. Right. I probably shouldn't be here. Right. But there's 400 other reasons why they should be here. But a story, perception versus reality, insides versus their outsides. But their outsides are what they want you to see. And this really caught my eye a couple of years ago. A buddy I grew up with he's on Facebook, and he and his wife are like the couple of the year after year. All the pretty Christmas pictures and the nice house and the nice vacations and all the loves and kisses and everything else. And so I called him up one day just to check in. I'm like, hey, man, how you doing? He goes, oh, my life's falling apart. He goes, what do you mean falling apart? I said, you guys win the Couple of the Year award. He goes, no, that's all fake. He says, I haven't lived in the same bedroom with my wife for 15 years. She's a raging alcoholic. Our life is falling apart. We're getting a divorce. Our house is getting foreclosed on. I mean, just his entire – and the week before, I was looking at his outside saying, oh, my God, these people are great.
Right.
So, I mean, especially in the world of social media today, I mean, my daughter's into, like, the influencer marketing, public relations and stuff. And I don't know what the percentage is, but maybe 80% of it is absolute fake made up. Right, so now I'm sitting there looking at somebody else's outsides that's probably fake, and I'm saying, oh, I don't feel as good because I don't have that, or I don't look like that, or I don't do this, so So that's a very good point about comparison.
And even when it's not deliberately manufactured, even if a person isn't trying to put on a facade or fool you, I think that I was born scared, and I still run scared. It's just the way I'm wired. I'm a glass half empty guy, an obsessive worrier. I think that if you were to ask 100 people who've known me over the course of my life, describe John in one word, I don't think any of them would have said scared. They would say competent, arrogant, take charge, kick ass, type A, driven. That's all compensatory. I think the character defects are compensatory. I don't mean to be an arrogant ass. When I met Cecilia the first day I met her, you're the most arrogant ass I've ever met. Oh, my God.
Good morning. We're going to have a great relationship.
Who said that? Your wife?
Cecilia.
Oh, Cecilia.
His pseudo sponsor. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I agree with you, but even when it's not deliberately manufactured, even when it's genuine as we can,
good stuff, John. Great stuff. I could go on another hour, but we do have to go because people want our table.
Yeah, we do. I hate saying goodbye, Doc.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good stuff, man. Thank you so much.
It's been so valuable to my path. I just want to say thank you.
And by the way, that's mutual. You guys have thanked me. That's mutual. We're all wounded healers to each other, and I've learned as much from you guys as you have from me.
Thanks, John.
Amen, man.
Have a great week, man.
Good having coffee with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@Sober.Coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.